There is order in your life and the universe. And no matter what you may be experiencing right now or witnessing in your life or in the world, it means that you're seeing the next version of who you're meant to become. We never know who we're going to be when we come into the world. It's a journey, an adventure, and it's the same thing in our world. And we happen to be moving through a big change in our world right now. And when we don't change, things become difficult. And sometimes we don't change because we become afraid. And we become afraid of either discovering ourselves or we fear others. I've done both of those because I really was afraid of myself. And then to tell others was even more challenging. But today I have to do that because I must change. My life led me to do something that's different, and you probably have never seen it before because I hadn't seen it before. And I have to move ahead because I'm going to be 75 on November the 2nd. And that doesn't even make sense to me given what I have moved through. But because of that, I know that I must give this work to others because it's the work that caused me to become who I am, to live the life that I've had. But because of the way it came about, it was challenging for me to accept, and probably you as well, if you have seen any of my writings. In 1989, when I started receiving Wilhelm, it was because I needed help. I've said that so often. We all do, because we're trying to gain control of something. What we're trying to gain control over is our thinking, our consciousness. That's all that it is. And we're at a place now where we have a lot of energies happening and a lot of people coming together, and it feels like you may not be able to find yourself. But see, I spent 36 years creating a plan for you to find yourself. I didn't know I was doing that. We never know what we're up to, but that is what's happened. I never wanted to be a channel or a mystic or a sage or any of those things. This is why I kept it hidden for so long. I wasn't going to tell people. I didn't want to be judged. I didn't want to be looked at. And many people didn't even understand why I was doing it or why I kept doing it. And this is what it turned into. Was when I started, I just said, I have to save these. I didn't even know why I was doing it in the beginning, but I knew it was leading me somewhere. And it's the same for you. When you've done things like this and you have no clue as to what it's for, you're being guided in some way. And you'll figure it out eventually. But then something else happened. I never would have looked at these messages because I didn't repeat them. I didn't go back and look at them. I was just collecting them all those years. But what was happening is I was moving through so many challenging, difficult, horrible things in my life, which many people, some people have known of that. And then to reverse it, and how did that happen? We have our consciousness, and that's what you want. And so mindset is the most important thing that you could develop. And so, but that changes as we live. As our civilization changes, we need a new way. And so in 2021, and I just put a little article up on my site so you could read it. In 2021, I knew that I had everything for you. I knew I had been given the path to your best life and to our better world, because we just had to move through all the old stuff, that's all. Not everyone was going to do that, though. We had to move through all of our old ideas and ways of holding ourselves back and all of that. And it's not just in your life, but it's in our world. Our governments, our countries, everything. It's because the energies are what are directing everything. And so as I kept receiving all of these messages all these years, in 2021, I'm told, we have given you everything. And I kept doubting that. I said, how could that have been? Even though I know that it's healed everything. And it's challenging to even talk about this to certain people, because I know you might be experiencing some physical things, or you've gone through a whole lot of trauma or whatever it might be. And I do understand it because I've done that too. But I also know that it can change, because when you gain control over your consciousness, that's why it changes. And I said many years ago that I had created the most expensive, valuable program on the planet. And I know that's true. No one has seen it because it was organized. It was put together in a way that I had no awareness of. And it wasn't until recently where I could go back and see all of the messages and the alignment. And so what I was doing is developing some skill no one had seen. I'm understanding the organization of our universe. And that's what's on the site, Any Advice for Today. I put it up today. It's for the messages for the 26th, but I would love for you to see it now so you'll understand exactly what I'm talking about. And this is the work that I'm doing now with others because we change ourselves a bit at a time every day. That's the only way that it works. And it's this. So, the first message for tomorrow, August 26, 2025, there is order in your life and the universe. You figure out another piece of the puzzle whenever you live. You are doing that now, and we gave you a blueprint to follow. And then you'll see it goes into the messages beginning in 2008. Because the other thing we discovered, their organization and cycles in our universe and energies, and we're all affected by that. And you can go back and kind of check your life, and you'll see how some of these messages will align for you. However, the other thing was, I have no awareness that every single year I'm receiving information that's aligned to the year before, and I have no awareness of the dates, and we still have not figured that out. How could that have happened? And then what was happening is I'm healing, and all of these things are coming through. But as you go through each message, you will see that it'll do the same for you. And then I put reflection questions, because you can read something, but it doesn't get into you until you actually ask yourself or do some writing. Like in my work, in my program, everybody's doing writing because that's how it connects, that's how it breaks through your limitations. And it goes on in every single year. Now, again, we'd never seen this done before. I hadn't seen it done. And so I had to keep checking and seeing, how did this happen? And I held back for so long because I didn't understand it. And I'm saying that because many people will know when I started this work in 2021, this particular program anyway, I was blown away by how fast people moved through it and started to like transform. And they only did a portion of it. And so I had to find out, it's been months now that I've been going through, well, longer than that, more than a year, that I've been going through and just said, I have to understand this. With all this information that I have accepted all these years, what did that mean? And so then at the bottom here, you will see I placed an analysis. I just had this, I think I used Perplexity, one of the AI tools, and I just had them read through. What do these mean? And these messages align through a consistent philosophy of personal evolution, self-realization, and conscious participation in shaping one's life. And each message served as a sequential piece of guidance for inner and outer transformation. The alignment is evident both in recurring themes and the deliberate use of annual dates to track progress and deepen understanding over time. And as you read each one, you will see that there is a story. And I could never have explained this to others, which was challenging because I'm having a pure dialogue. And I've accessed consciousness. That's why I can answer your question. That's why I can gain all this other information. But like you, it took me a while to accept that. But what I know now is that there's no reason for you to struggle or suffer anymore because I've done that. I've written out all the answers for you, and this is why people move through this work. But I haven't finished, just as you probably haven't. But what I was doing is trying to get other people to understand it, and that's not going to always happen. You must want to become your greatest authentic self, and that I know we have. That I know you can do. Because the only difficulty you will have is that there's some limitation in your thinking. You're not able to see something in a new way. You've been doing it for a long time. It's been programmed into you. You need time to change that, and you will read all of that in there. And that's exactly how this happened. So I'm doing this today because I wanted you to see it, and I wanted to send this to everyone on my mailing list as well. So I wanted them to know why I'm making drastic changes. We never know what we have, and then when you discover it and you still hold back, that's when your life really gets screwed up. And that's what I've been doing to myself, because I said I've got to explain this and have this make sense to people, and it's not going to make sense to everyone. What you're discovering about yourself may not make sense to others, even those in your family. And so you have to decide that you're going to change and that you're going to do something, otherwise you do not evolve. And that's what I was doing. And so now I'm going to put this out there. I'm going to do more talks on this. I'm doing a big class in November because I have the the philosophy, and that's what I want people to understand. This is a philosophy, meaning that it's a new way of thinking, and it gets you to move through everything that was limited. That's what this is. And for the longest time, most people can understand what this work was. It is a new philosophy that gets you to live the life you're supposed to have, and you move through all the old stuff, and you bypass all the current chaos that you might be seeing, witnessing, or involved in. That's really what happens. So please check out everything. Check out the program. It'll always be available, but it's going to be quite different later because I done myself in by not putting so much out and finishing this where I didn't have enough to. I have to hire people now to finish all of this, and that's why I'm cutting things off tomorrow. So it's not going to be at this rate anymore. And I can tell you this because I can say it. It's not my ego. It's just fact that I know that you can achieve greatness because the only thing that would be in your way is just some thought that you haven't been able to change, and I've received the answers, and also the answers are already within you. I just gave you a way to answer the question so you know how great you are. That's all that happens. So check it all out, and I just wanted to explain to everyone, I didn't know that I had done this. You don't know what you have either. And then when you do something that no one in history has done, takes a little while. But now, that's what I'm going to be telling the world. That's going to be the news story because I have to own it. I was afraid for so long. I thought, oh wow, if I tell people this, they're going to like overwhelm me. And that's never going to happen, as I discovered, because we get afraid of ourselves. But now, if you're one who wants to get to that best place in your life, now is your time. And I'm saying this because I'm going to spend the next year working with people very closely as I'm putting all this together, where I can leave it and just have it work on its own. And that's what I'm doing. But I can say to you, there's no reason for you to struggle or suffer anymore because the answers are here. All right, check it all out. Thank you so much for being here. And you deserve to have a great life. And now you can. See you soon.